Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our global TV deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
God of my salvation, because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is open. Rastafari. Come with I. Rastaman throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. That's a people day. Make a man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Only when man like Marcus Garvey speak, wicked men would I hear. Hear not hear. Instead of that, they only sit aside and rub and cheat, and not press the poor. Make up what I seen to you. Make him a throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a plan! Make him a throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. So, my favorite part, if Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the day them can sell out Rasta and sell it out. I sell out Babylon. They give man throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. They give man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. If Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the dead can sell out Rasta and sell out. I sell out Babylon. Just talk on the Friday. You must throw a stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black baby man, throw a stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. You have eyes to see, let him see. You have ears to hear, let them hear. What a prophet must say. President Mandela was in prison for 20 odd years. And he leave from the prison and take the seat of the president. Stone one. Big man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all. man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Sorry to be late. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. President Trump has really blinked first. Let's see how long President Trump can carry on with his tariff tirade. 150% for Trump, 180% for Xi. But President Trump, in his global tirade, except for China, has really blinked first because President Trump has now paused for 90 days his tariff tirade on the rest of the world, bar China. So it's fair to say the mustering of the president, he has really blinked first. Because the truth is, the American economy is always going to come out at the dirty end of what President Trump is playing in his global economic warfare. Let's see how far he can provoke China, because China prepared to fight to the bitter end in the tariff warfare. So President Trump is just about shooting itself in its own foot. Let's see how it all tug around. Let's see how it all tug around. But tonight we're here to attack, we can use the word, the mayor, former mayor, one should say, of Kingston and St. Andrew. As well as I'm here to agree with something Delroy Chuck said, but to give you my take on it as to why I agree with Delroy Chuck. Weird, isn't it? But we are going to get on with it. To my community of party and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls, good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Lovely to have your support. Who is here in the chats? Anybody here from Anjor Chang yet? Beaten Teeth, real sweet, Arlene Foster. How are you, Arlene? Good time in us here. Good evening and welcome. Everybody, how are you doing? Who else is here? Andrea Joan Hamilton Wilson, good evening. Good evening. Sharon Bernard, Asilda Williams. Good evening and welcome. Jamrock 8766. Good evening, Laura Morris. Good evening. Good evening. Colleen, good evening. Evan Bradford. Good evening. Good evening, Sophia Hall. Good evening, Sunshine. Debbie Jarvis TV. Good evening, one and all. Tell President Trump game is over, Evan Riley, so he should just set things back to normal. Ladybug, Raymond, Norman Ferguson, rather, sorry. Hold on. JP, Horace Harrison. Good evening, Paula Shelley. Good evening. O'Neill Gale, Colin, Marcia Thomas, Christine Gilbert, Paula Shelley, Marcia Thomas, Opal's Kitchen, Melissa Jones, Canadian Gal. Good evening, Michelle Lewis Wilson, Colleen Dahmer, Renice Nicholson, RJ Don Fox, Nifty Friend. Good evening, ML Smith, Arlene Scott, the humble one, Monica Wills. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Who is on the tick here? Oh, no, that's not what we want. TikTok, don't do that. Sexy K. Dwight, Beaton Teach, Patrice, Courtney, Lovan, Claudette, Bethoy, Turk, I hope that's it. Shane Grandison Foundation, Hyatt, Michael, Choi, Ya, Sin, Ricky. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Mayor Feather. Mayor Feather. You know, Feather will love tech KFMC Money Gun Meat Shop. Yes, that's the Feather we're talking about. Now, you know, this debacle been running for some time now. The shitty water of Kingston and St. Andrew that Jesse Clark and the People's National Party came out and talked about, Suzette Williams. The Jamaica Labour Party maintain it's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie. Andrew Holness's led National Water Commission has said that there's E. coli identified in the water, albeit they're saying there's no requirement to boil the water. That's the National Water Commission said that under the advice of the Ministry of Health. You know the same Ministry of Health with the spoiled chickens? Yes, that Ministry of Health. Some NWC system tested positive for E. coli. That's what the NWC is saying. Now, Mayor Feather came out today and he said that the People's National Party is playing politics. Mayor Feather denounced water quality resolution as misinformation and political distraction. So, you know, there's a confusion here right away. Because the government's former mayor, the government's former senator, the government candidate for one of them Clarendon seat, the Mike Henry seat, is saying, even after the National Water Commission, which is not People's National Party led, mind you, the National Water Commission is under the responsibility of the Prime Minister, under the office of the Tenement Yard Ministry, Economic Growth and Job Creation. You know, that's a big yard. Because under the Economic Growth and Job Creation, Tenement Yard, you have a whole particular family house in there, like housing, water, road, all sorts fall under that big tenement yard called Economic Growth and Job Creation. Water is one of them. The mayor is saying the People's National Party is misinforming and deploying political distraction. Now, sometime when Nationwide and Observer put out certain bull crap in the hemisphere, I don't know if they really think before them write certain article, because you mean to check and cross-check things. Now, at first, when Jesse Clark came out and gave the report, it was a whole brouhaha. Kishore, how you do? Like, It's never happened. Jesse Clark is just making it up. Hmm? Jesse Clark is just making it up. But this is the Prime Minister's NWC run. This is the Prime Minister, Ministry of Health run, who is saying we have identified E. coli in the water source. Albeit they're saying to you is that level of shit is safe for you. Hmm? Because if them say you can't use it and don't boil it, then they're basically saying that level of shit is safe enough for you. How then do we get back Mayor Feather to the People's National Party, warning the people of Kingston and St. Andrew about their water safety? How is it political opportunism played by the People's National Party? That bit I don't get. Hmm? Because the government is admitting what Mr. Clark says. Hmm? The government is admitting that the water is contaminated with fecal matters. Hmm? But the mayor said, nothing do gossip. It's politics. How safe is that, mayor, for you to tell the public who below Cherry Gardens tend to run with the things them wanna say? And if uno say the water clean, if uno say it's all right for them drink it, cook with it, brush teeth with it, bathe with it, and don't boil it, I really don't get the advice, Mayor, because the advice is to look after Farmer Mayor, me know. The advice is to look after the health of the people. You will just jump from local government, jump from the upper chamber to come seek a seat in the lower chamber because the Senate now go do it for you if you don't have the mayoralty. Because it's a cash cow, ism now come after. And you have to be a councillor or an MP for in the cash dashing. You have to be a councillor or an MP for being at the cash dashing. He was quite okay as mayor of Kingston and St. Andrew and senator because he might get 53,000 every time he turn up a senate for the nothing at all. And then he has the public purse to use and buy front as much as him want. If you want to know how your public purse was buying front, ask Celia. Ask Celia about the behavior of Mayor Feather down there. So please, JLP, when you're not playing politics, think about the health of Dunce JLP with swallow the piece of white stone we want to give them and say it's a tablet. Be careful how you advise them, Mayor, because what you have done is tell JLP people say them to drink the water, the shitty water, because it's safe enough for them. Me know it's an election year. I don't want to put everything in a bag to make the bag bigger and show us something in there. But at the end of the day, it's the same people that you are ill advising. Advise us to the country. These are the same people you are coming to ask to give you power, power that you don't deserve because you did horrible as mayor of Kingston and St. Andrew. You buy more front than more roads that you have fixed, mayor. Hmm? And you want to come run one whole a constituency. A whole heap of money that in a mayor. Jesus. No front to go by. Hmm? Because he can't win it. No. A Mike Henry seat. Then Andrew Holness can buy a truce. Because you know, so that's one of the topsy-turvy seat. But Andrew Holness can really buy a truce with Mike Henry. You don't know what coming in the container for pay who and for pay who. And say, you know what? Chill and make me do my show. But I'm asking members of the public, do not follow the advice of what the idiot name? Donovan, not Donovan, and that's your name. Delroy Williams. Do not follow the advice of Delroy Williams, former mayor of Kingston and St. Andrew. Do not follow the advice given by him. The water is not safe. It is not politics that is being played. You are being properly advised that the water is contaminated with shit. The mayor is of the view that it's okay for you to consume. Please do not follow the advice of the mayor. The science, the water is contaminated. All right? And if you're new to the program on TikTok, please hit the follow button, please. Hit the follow button. And of course, keep tapping the screen. Keep tapping the screen. Delroy Chuck. Delroy Chuck says something which I'm not going to read for you. I'm just going to tell you the headline, but I'm going to explain to you why I agree. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck is urging Jamaicans to prioritize drafting wills, stressing the significant burden placed on the Office of the Administrator General due to the absence of clear instructions for estate distribution. There's a 55 billion worth of undisbursed asset held in government coffers and banks and all sought by the Administrator General. Now, if you die and you have a will, what happened is, after death, the executor for your will must apply to the court for probate, and the court probates the will and it becomes effective and then go into disbursement. On the other hand, if you have not got a will, then your possession, your estate becomes an administrative estate, which is a very tedious and expensive journey, especially if you have a lot of children. What is required then what is required for them to do, one can, or as a group, they can, you must apply to the court for the administrative power to carry out the affairs of your, say, parents who have died without a will. Now, when doing that, you have to make, and say, for instance, there's money in the bank, there may be property, such a like, and such a forth, and there's many children. In order to have these assets dispersed between the children, you have to apply to the administrator general. And then once that is accepted and an administrator is assigned to the asset, then the disbursement proceeds. But a lot of people, an awful lot of people, because I've had the experience in 2018, and for the purpose of how expensive, how bureaucratic it is, a lot of money are sitting in government coffers. A lot of money are sitting in the banks, but it end up in government administrative coffers when these family members die without a will, and this tedious and expensive bureaucracy to apply for the power of administration to disburse their asset, some people just don't bother. On the other hand, some people, the asset that they've left, say for example in money, is not the money you would spend going through the legal process of administration. It outweighs what would be in the bank that you are going after for the court to give you the power to carry out the administrative affairs of. So because of that, there are billions sitting in government coffers or the administrator general coffers, undisbursed money. What you think government put them money there down and have them sit down out there and say, oh God, one day somebody will come and finally get the authority, thank you very much, Kathy, to do the disbursement of all these money that is sitting in government coffers. So I'm agreeing with Delroy Chuck by saying it is important, if you don't want your assets, thank you, Kathy, thank you. Support the live goal, my peeps. Support the live goal and tap the screen. Power tap, power tap, power tap, power tap, as they would say over there. A lot of money, if you don't want to pop your clogs and move on and leave your tuppence and farden for the government to do what they want to do with it, then the right thing to do, if you have assets, if you have money in the bank, make a will, because it's the thieving government. Thank you very much, Kathy. That gets all of this. Even though you're hearing the Minister of Justice said there's a 55 billion undisbursed, undistributed money into the coffers, or asset into the coffers. a lot of these, the government take control of them both land, mainly land and money. Sometimes it's more to do with the money part of it, because what you would find when it comes to the land, sometimes it goes off to another family member, though you may have the rickety, the tickety, and all that comes with it. But if you don't want to move on and leave your asset for the government, then it is important for you to make a will. So on that um, argument, I agree with Delroy Chuck, because if you don't do that, it's hard for your children or your legal next of kin to have access to or to disburse your asset, particularly if it's money in the bank. You can spend a lot of money in order to get to that money. So it is important to have those documents, or sir, government will benefit rather than who you choose to benefit your assets. So I hope that makes a bit of sense for you. Because when you die without a will, it's really tedious, especially if there's money in the bank. One child, even if one child is doing it legally, you have to name every child and possible grandchildren that may be entitled to inheritance. How the grandchildren would comes in that case, say for example, there are 9 children or 10 children of you, and one of your parents has passed, and there's a certain amount of money left in the bank. One child cannot go and claim that money. You are required by law to give name of all your siblings. Say, for example, one of your siblings has passed before your parents, but that sibling has children. You cannot go through the process without being honest about the siblings of those children, because that sibling becomes a part of the estate as well. His estate, his disbursement goes to his estate as well, and then his estate would transfer to his children. So it's a very tedious, expensive process. And by that, a lot of money is left in the banks that the government and the bank them do what they choose to do with it, or how it benefit them. So if you don't want to thief you in life and thief you in death, then it's advisable to make a will. Hmm? It is advisable to make a will. So don't, don't be wrong twice by the government. And in line with President Trump, flitterer and flutterer, and his climb up, climb down, climb up, climb down, climb up, climb down, because this is not the first. President Trump has paused his tariff tirade, and he has He has to pause it again. How do I get down to media presentation? Hold on. I ought to be up here. Oh, I need to share screen first. Beg your pardon, my people. Because I want to play what Judge Polyton or whatever Polly his name, Raymond G, how you do these with your world. But as we say, Trump blink first. And Trump has an awful lot more blinking to do because you're just not going to win a war that you cannot win. You're just not going to win a war, President Trump, that you cannot win. I've maintained from the start a trade war against China is not winnable for America, not this present China. Probably the China 40, 50 years ago, America. Donald Trump think the world must yield to America. And by that, he's going after the world with his trade wrath. It is, though, backlashing on the American economy. If you want to know how badly the global economy is doing, look at your pension your pension plan. Because my pension has dived hugely. What was in my pension pot has gone down hugely because the market works based on confidence, and everything is tipping and tilting on the President Trump loonified tirade. So if you want to know how bad the financial market is doing, look at your pension or look at any other investment you may have. How much money have been knocked off your pension or your investment in the last few weeks or months, or particularly the last few weeks since the great war of America First has started. The America First agenda of Donald Trump, though, may soon turn out to be America alone, Mr. Trump.
To the YouTube channel and given the thumbs up to the show, which helps us in our perennial struggle with Mr. Algorithm. If you want to call the show, it's toll free in the United States and Canada, which are still, I think, separate countries. It's +1 844 944 3344, and it's free of charge in the United Kingdom and Ireland. 0808 196 5522. The worldwide number is 00442039662625. Now, His Eminence, Judge Andrew Napolitano, is the host of Judging Freedom, a must-watch podcast, and he's a former New Jersey Superior Court judge. And I saw someone lamenting the other day and concurred. A great pity that it was Roger Stone, actually. A great pity that Trump had not appointed Judge Napolitano to the Supreme Court. But in that event, he wouldn't have been here on the mother of all talk shows. So it's an ill wind that bears nobody any good. Your Honor, Judge Napolitano, wonderful to see you again. I wonder if we could start with the turmoil on the economic, financial front. Is there method in this madness, or is it just madness?
I wish I could understand the method to the madness, George. And let me actually start by thanking you for inviting me to the show. We've been friends and collaborators for a long time. You were on my show recently. Yeah. The numbers went through the roof, the numbers of viewers, and I'm happy and thrilled to be on your show with you. I've been a fan for many years, as you know, before we actually met. I don't know if there's a method to his madness. In my view, and in the view of most legal scholars who've looked at this, what he did was absolutely unlawful and totally unconstitutional. The Constitution authorizes the Congress to raise taxes, not the president. A tariff is a sales tax. Okay, they gave him authority to impose this tariff in the case of an emergency, and then they defined emergency as a sudden and unexpected event which adversely affects national security or economic prosperity. The so-called emergency was the American, stated by Trump in his executive order, George, was the American imbalance of trade. That's been the case since 1934, so it's hardly a sudden and unexpected event. So there's no legal basis for what he's doing. Can the Congress impose tariffs? Well, yes, it could, but that would be after a great public debate in which the Congress made prudential judgments about how to manage the government's economic woes. When the president makes a wild, wild decision like this on his own, and it causes the loss of 6 to 7 trillion in shareholder value, although, as you know, some of that is now coming back since he, in the past half hour, suspended the tariffs that he imposed last week on all countries except China. It makes one wonder if he understands economics 101. I say this as a friend of his, and if he knows what he's doing.
This message is for parents who don't have life insurance. For as little as £2.50 a week, you can insure the long.
Yes, and this show was happy that he, rather than Kamala Harris, became the president. So we don't depart from a standpoint of wishing him failure. To the contrary, but he's doing his best, Your Honor, to disappoint, if not to shatter, the hopes that so many people had on this front and on the war front.
Yes, on the war front, about which you spoke right before the break, with respect to Israel, in my view, he is worse than Joe Biden. He has totally and completely unleashed Benjamin Netanyahu to resume the genocidal slaughter of the Palestinian people. Moreover, I'm of the view that the statement Trump issued, which was interpreted by the BBC and by The Economist magazine as a disappointment to Prime Minister Netanyahu, was a head fake intended to lull the American people and the Iranians into a false sense of security. Netanyahu's domestic problems are over the top and out of control and will consume him, and he knows it, unless he brings Israel to war. And he knows that he cannot bring Israel to war without the United States. Now, that raises a whole host of other problems that involve a couple of fellows named Putin and Xi, and it depends on how smart Donald Trump is as to whether or not he goes along with what Netanyahu desperately needs. But he cannot call himself a man of peace. He is still funding the war in Ukraine. It will stop.
Even when they have thrown their baton away in their deindustrialization because we are too rich to do the dirty work, says America. Let's shift it over to the East. The East, though, has now passed up America. America is playing a desperate catch-up, something which America cannot achieve at this economic stage of life because America relies on cheap wages and exploitation. America, though, cannot do that at home. America needs somewhere to exploit people. Isn't it America? Why you have fallen is because of the same human exploitation. America, that you're ranting around the world going on about Cuba, 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 Cuba. Why don't you bloody say China?
In 2 weeks, when he turns off the spigot that Joe Biden opened 3.5 years ago. And even worse, he's paying for 100% of the slaughter in Gaza. What kind of a man of peace is that?
Indeed, the whole shtick that he was hoping for a Nobel Peace Prize and so on, it all seems so long ago now, and he's only been in 3 months. It is quite an extraordinary turn of events and not entirely explicable to me, because I got the feeling before that Trump didn't like Netanyahu very much. Trump's an alpha male, obviously, and he tends not to like the being in the presence of other alpha males. He tends to like people like little Macron that he can pat on the head and push around. And Netanyahu is, of course, not that kind of guy. So I got the feeling that Trump would not actually go the extra mile for Netanyahu. But in his ravings about Gaza, and they are ravings, I mean, the ravings in every sense. When he says Israel gave up the Gaza ocean front property, the Mediterranean being a sea, not an ocean, and Israel never had it to give it up. It is, as you well know, Your Honor, internationally, legally recognized as occupied territory, a status only recently reinforced by the last judgment of the ICJ, the highest court in the world. He seemed to think that he, under the authority of the United States, could simply have the Gaza Strip, when legally all he'd be doing was making America the illegal occupier rather than Israel.
His statement in the Oval Office in the presence of Prime Minister Netanyahu that Israel gave up the Gaza Strip probably galled Netanyahu as well, because it is so profoundly inaccurate. It's been Palestine for about 4,000 years. The Israelis have attempted to seize it, and it's been an open-air concentration camp there since 1948. Trump has designs on it to develop it. I mean, that to me is a gross and irresponsible statement to come out of the mouth of the President of the United States. If you want to give him credit, maybe he's playing games with Netanyahu. Maybe he's not. Maybe he likes him. Maybe he doesn't. But he's financing the slaughter of innocent people, and there's no justification for that, and there's no credit to be given for that. There's nothing but condemnation. George, I was surprised at the poll numbers that you read. Those polls are not publicized here in the West. Here in the United States, you can sense a feeling that enough is enough. But you have to get that feeling on shows like yours and mine. You won't get it where I worked for 24 years on Fox News. You won't get it from reading the Wall Street Journal or the Washington Post or the New York Times. You won't get it from CBS, ABC, and
the numbers Judge Politonia is talking about, a recent survey has been done, and it has shown that Israel has lost the power of the people. For the very first time, over 50% of the American public does not agree with the relationship between Israel and America. So Israel and its apartheid, murderous, genocidal tirade is losing power to social media. Since 1948 to 2023, I believe, October, when the recent war started, Israel have enjoyed not just the support and financial backing, military backing of the American public and taxpayers and their money. The social media tirade in this recent war has broken that chain. For the very first time, the people of America, in their majority, has disapproved of the deadly relationship between the Israeli and the Americans.
NBC or the BBC. You'll only get it from the alternative media. But I guess it's starting to resonate. Those numbers that you quoted a few moments ago, polls of Americans were extraordinary. 57% opposing this policy. The policy is ruinous for the United States. It has isolated not only Israel, but the United States as international pariahs.
If you're still using these adapter heads to charge your devices, what are you doing? You need to be getting yourself one of these. This is a sick.
Indeed so, and they are remarkable, given the blackout of truth on almost every medium, with the exception of yours, mine, the Grey Zone, and one or two others. You really have to search for the truth about the Israel-Palestine conflict in the US and in Britain for that matter, though more in the US. And yet now a clear majority of US adults say they disapprove of the current US relationship to Israel. That is something Trump should pay attention to, unless he's not able to, Your Honor. I postulated, you're his friend, I'm not. I postulated there's something dark about this. It can't just be about previous donations, because eaten bread is soon forgotten, as I'm sure Italian Americans also know, as well as Irish people. These donations are all in the past. They've all been spent. I'm wondering if he's compromised, if there's the Israeli equivalent of, you know, a P-gate tape on Trump that keeps him in the fold, as it were.
Well, the Mossad has a reputation for being extreme.
And the Mossad is the Israeli equivalent to the CIA or the British MI5. Yes, those Mossad that Andrew Holness has a memorandum of understanding with, those people who are spying on you, Jamaica. They spy on everybody. They spy on even the Americans and the British, their closest friend, financial allies. Yes, the Mossad. Andrew has a memorandum of understanding with them. The Pegasus, the software.
Effective at controlling people.
Winston Gibbs.
I would like to think that it is the money angle, not just with him, but with everybody around him, including about 95% of the United States Congress, which receives substantial donations from AIPAC. You know what AIPAC is, of course, as do your viewers and listeners. You did.
And if you are not aware of who AIPAC is the Jewish lobby that really controls America. From the president down to every, senators and representatives, they're controlled by that powerful financial Jewish lobby. Just as the Jewish lobby controls the politics of Britain as well. What they want, they get.
Suggest in the segment before you brought me on that his involvement with the late monster Jeffrey Epstein might be held above his head in a way so as to control his behavior. I don't know. I hope that's not the case. That would be a severe and extreme form of blackmail, but you can't put anything past Mossad. Mossad is so devoted to the concept of the apartheid Jewish state that it'll do anything it can to keep the money flowing.
Let's turn, Your Honor, to the Chinese front, because that's what will be grabbing the headlines later tonight and tomorrow morning. Trump's latest, and as I say, it's only the latest because it's developing, as you say, by the half hour, is 154% tariffs on China. China's responded with 180% in retaliation. These numbers become a joke, don't they? effectively we're in
they
a
do, and they've
state
actually gone up. They've gone up since we began this broadcast.
Well, there you go. I mean, where is all this heading, Judge?
I wish I knew where it is heading. You talk about alpha males. You have two in Donald Trump and President Xi Jinping, neither of whom is prepared to back down. I am hoping that the three of them will be in Moscow on May 9th to celebrate that day in Russian history, and that the three of them will sit down with their aides and translators and work out some kind of a new reset, a new economic relationship. Maybe that's just wishful thinking, but you have to add to this the rantings and ravings of my former Fox colleague, who's now the Secretary of Defense, who last week in Japan faced China and threatened them and said, don't you dare think about doing anything with Taiwan because we'll be here to defend it. I mean, the military people will tell you, and I'm sure they have, that it is inconceivable that the United States could defend against the Chinese Navy and military if they want Taiwan, and no good purpose is served by threatening China. So you have the threat to China from Secretary Hegseth, and now you have these absurd and ridiculous tariffs. If you want to buy a toaster at Walmart or Amazon in the United States, last week it cost you $25. Now it costs you $100. Now, if you're interested in saving money on the toaster, you're not going to spend $100. And if you're looking for an American-made toaster, you're not going to find one at all. So who is Trump hurting? Trump's hurting what we call Joe Sixpack wearing a red MAGA cap, basically his blue-collar base. That's who he's hurting when he imposes these absurdly high triple-digit tariffs.
And in the same interview, I also wanted to hear from one of America's top economists, Professor Richard.
The future of your
Wolff.
business is here. With Wix, you get advanced AI capabilities.
Let's move on to Professor.
Indeed so. And that seems to me, I'm not an economist, but that seems to me the obvious point.
Let's move on to Professor Wolff's segment of this interview with God, because he's more in depth.
You are listening to the mother of all talk shows with George Galloway.
Well, with what you might say is extraordinary perspicacity, the mother of all talk shows has one of the world's greatest economists with us this evening, Professor Richard Wolff. Much obliged to you, Professor. You must be in great demand this evening, so I'm grateful to you for your presence. We couldn't have picked a better night for it. Let me begin by asking, as I did Judge Napolitano earlier, is this just madness, or is there method in the madness? And if there is, you're the man to explain it, I know.
Yeah, excuse me, I think there is method in the madness. I think that this is a Republican Party administration. The only difference between it and what we have seen in the past is that his strategy is to go much, much further. Whereas before you tolerated white supremacists, now you embrace them. Where before you were against the people who wanted to abolish abortion, now you are their leader. Where before you wanted to get more out of your allies, now you punish them to get more out of your allies, and so on and so on. If people want to know what is driving Mr. Trump, probably the single most important thing is a matter of the tax history in this country. In the first administration of Mr. Trump, back in 2017, the only major economic act that he achieved as president was an enormous tax cut favoring corporations and the rich, which he accomplished in December of 2017. It was noteworthy mostly because it came at the end of a 30-year period in the United States during which we had had a redistribution of income and wealth from the bottom and the working class to the people, the 10%, the 5% at the top. Never did those people need a tax cut less, and they got it anyway, because Mr. Trump was taking care of business in the way that the Republican Party always had. But that law that passed that tax cut had a clause in it that it expires this year, 2025, which means that Mr. Trump has a problem. He must do something, because if he doesn't either renew that law, prevent it from expiring, if he doesn't do that, then his supporters, corporations and the rich, will face an enormous tax increase as we go back to what taxes were before 2017. He has to perpetuate that tax cut, which means he has to use his control of both houses of our Congress to get that through. And since he has promised even more tax cuts for corporations and the rich, and a few for the rest of us, he has an enormous problem. We were already scheduled to run a $2 trillion deficit this year, and he now faces a conundrum. How is he going to stop borrowing too much money that the rest of the world is unwilling to lend us? How is he going to do that without taxing corporations and the rich, who will dump him politically if he dares? That's his dilemma. And whether you're looking at tariffs or you're looking at the wholesale firing of public employees, that's what the story is about. He's trying to solve all of these contradictions and having a difficult time. But he's desperate. And if I can underscore anything for your audience in the United Kingdom or beyond, these are not the strategies of some master manipulator. These are the strategies of desperation. We're coming to a very key part of the decline of the American empire, already underway.
I've set you up on Tinder. What?
Critics are calling this the best Bridget ever.
Yes.
Buy or rent at home. Meet GoDaddy Aero, our AI-powered experience that'll take your business idea online in minutes.
We lost the war in Vietnam. We lost it in Afghanistan. We lost it in Iraq, and we're losing it in Ukraine. And the consequence of that is a recognition that we cannot continue. And we have so many accumulated domestic problems. What you're seeing is desperation. It's a kind of desperation from the bottom that gives Mr. Trump the presidency. And now it is fueling kinds of behavior whose long-term costs to the United States are incalculable. The risk this guy is taking should make everyone wonder about the future of the whole world.
I think many of us are wondering about that. It's enough to make you believe that we're approaching the end times, I've got to tell you, and it's taken me 70 years to utter that phrase. The desperation of which you speak, producing very desperate measures. I mean, when you are into triple-digit tariffs, with the biggest manufacturing economy in the world, and possibly the biggest economy in the world, though they deny it, but certainly the second biggest economy in the world. The two biggest economies in the world in a triple-digit trade war with each other. I mean, that all sounds a bit dangerous to me, Professor.
Yes, it is extremely dangerous. And we have to be honest, and I say this as an American. I was born here, lived here, worked here all my life. The United States is the initiator. The United States is afraid of what is going on in China, and by that I mean it's staggering economic growth. I mean, here is one of the poorest countries in the world a few decades ago and is now a superpower. I mean, that is a model for the mass of the people of this planet who would like to escape poverty and see in the Chinese the most successful effort so far to do that. They have made an industrialization in decades that took the United Kingdom centuries, and the United States a long time as well. But the response of the United States, which could have been and should have been, what have you done that we can learn from? What were the things you changed that enabled you to achieve what so many other countries in Asia, Africa, Latin?
What Professor Wolf is saying, the United States is really stuck in its past and is very petulant about it, because the United States don't want to learn, to learn to advance. The United States want to stay at that stagnant base level, and then everybody below it. Poor America.
America wanted to achieve. Instead of that, the strategy has been to try to squash it. The attack on the Huawei Corporation a few years ago, the stationing of the 7th Fleet in the South China Sea, the endless rediscovery of this dead horse called Taiwan. These are provocations now with these tariff wars. It's designed to distract them, to slow them down, to interfere. And the most impressive thing about China is that it's been going on for 15 years and it's clearly not working. And so the response of people which could have been and should have been, let's sit down and work out with the Chinese a way to live on this planet together without coming to the blows that will destroy this planet. Instead of that, they just double down. Mr. Trump's favorite strategy. If it doesn't work, do more of it. If it still doesn't work,
Looking to scale customer service without scaling headcount?
more of it. By the way, the 125% tariff is not the most outrageous so far. It actually comes second to another one that I want to tell everyone about. In Europe, you can see something called the BYD automobile. I don't know if they have them in England yet, but they have them on the continent. And that's a Chinese company, and that Chinese company is the result of a competition over the last 20 years. Every automobile company tried to produce electric vehicles because they saw that as the next phase of the automobile company. Mr. Musk is famous because he was one of the early achievers, and to his credit, and he's made a fortune out of it. But he didn't produce the best one. The best one, that is the best car quality at the lowest price, is the BYD company. Every engineer who has looked at them says the same thing, Chinese and non-Chinese alike. And that's why they're very, very successful. They just passed Tesla in China as the biggest seller of cars, etc. By the way, it stands for the English words, build your dream, BYD Corporation. Yeah. And we don't have it in the United States, not at all, because Mr. Trump put a 27% tariff in his first term, and Mr. Biden raised it to 100% during his term. In other words, trying to stop them, but did it work? No. Has BYD Corporation grown? Spectacularly. This is a failed strategy, but it does look good on television here in the United States. Mr. Trump is smiting the world around. He's claiming we have been the victim of 50 years of cheating. He makes this stuff up. There's no economics to support it, but it is a kind of chauvinistic, nationalistic economics that plays for a while well, but not as the costs. And let me mention a couple because they're so important. Every country in the world and nearly every company is now required to re-strategize and rethink where is it going to locate its warehouses? Where is it going to locate production? Where can it expect to grow its market? Where will it have to suffer a shrinkage of its market? It can't know. Everybody is making decisions and saying, wait a minute, we can't. And we all know in economics what happens if the investing class, the top 2 or 3%, are waiting. That was the lesson of the British brilliant economist, Lord Keynes. He explained, if the corporations wait, we get recessions. That's the biggest fear in Wall Street right now, that this crazy policy of tariffs, on again, off again, higher, lower, what it does do is hold back every decision-making capitalist and thereby plunge the rest of us into an economic downturn that could rival the Great Depression because of its globality, because it involves so many. The risk he is taking to further the old Republican Party agenda in this country, and I put aside how it will worsen the inequalities of wealth and income, but merely as a manager of a capitalist system in trouble. This reminds me of a desperate person trying desperate things because he knows that if he doesn't do something, the path ahead all goes down.
America in turmoil. America's best way out of all what Trump is fighting against, it is cooperation. China has won the race, America. Russia has stayed in the race and has advanced America. Tough. You did not do well with time, money, science, and technology, America. The money you waste shedding blood globally, controlling countries and government, America, could have advanced you. You have lost the race, America. If you must keep up, you must cooperate with the global South, America. The hegemon of the global North is broken. No more. So in order for a peaceful transfer into coexistence, what you, America, aren't used to. Rein in on a mad dog. Because your mad dog is only going to make it tantamount worse for America economically. You see what has done in 3 months. A global recession is hinging. America has nothing to gain from this. Nothing. Nothing to gain from this. So if President Trump wants to continue, as I said, and I've always maintained, and I'm not afraid to say it, President Trump is doing to America exactly what I wanted. Breaking the back of the hegemon of America so the world can be a multipolar world with many powers in it. And America don't sit down and beat we up, thief with things, and then carry back peanut congy and say, promote batty before you can get something for them. The hegemon, the devil of America, the great Satan of this world is slowly coming to an end. It's about time. The problem, though, Andrew Holness seemingly willing, seemingly willing to follow Donald Trump to disastrous end. Because wherever you look in the global south, and the global divide is you have global north and global south. Global north are the rich countries, the countries in Europe, America. Added to that is Australia and Japan and Israel. They're very close ally. And everybody outside of that is the global south. Everybody outside of that, those ones who I've just named, are the global south. The global south is where business is at. The global south is where the human resources power is at. The global south is where the natural resources is at. So America continued to try to manipulate and manhandle the rest of the world. It's only going to go bad for America because all it is doing is isolating a big mouth, broke pocket bully. That's all it's doing. Isolating a big mouth, broke pocket bully, which is the United States of America. But that is what Andrew Holness decided to follow and disturb the partnership we have with the Cubans. So Dr. Tufton have to run up and down all over the place employing Cuban replacement. And before we go, Prime Minister and Horace Chang, we're still waiting for an update on the Helsha chicken. Given that, even though when Fiona Science, because Mayor Desmond McKenzie said, the Gleaner just put out a new piece. JLP said PNP using water situation to distract from the financial debacles, irregularities rather, at KSAMC. So Feather is saying, I don't really not now going down there, no. Is because into say, they don't want to talk about the money down at KSMC. Them a fool or no. Say the water no good down there, shit in a hit. And Prime Minister, we believe you. All right? We believe you, Prime Minister. Dr. Mario, how you? Me not be fat pan him, Dr. Mario. Okay, every time he come with the friggery. We believe you, Prime Minister. You don't have to bird feed with your narratives. Jamaica records 35% reduction in murders. All right, Prime Minister, we believe you, okay? We believe you, Prime Minister. You happy now? Are you happy, Prime Minister? Yes, we believe you and we accept the murder down. What next? What next? Are we going to have more containers of chicken? Are we going to have a sleeping JDF and JCF so container can float past them? What is next, Prime Minister? Yes, crime is down by 35%, even though we're not seeing it or feeling it or believe it. Yes, Prime Minister, it is down. What next? This one I go mad with, you know. Ketty said call the election, Prime Minister. Since has crime down so much? Since has crime down so much, and we believe you. So now we can't sleep with the window and door open. Call the election, the Prime Minister. You've made it. You've finally gotten there. To the point, Prime Minister, where we can sleep with window and door open. Are you tell about play the Prime Minister glory? Play the Prime Minister glory. Let the Prime Minister tell you of the things we accomplish, and I may accomplish it, you know. And I know me I go do it for you in Jamaica. I'm just the bearer of bad news. I'm just the bearer of bad news. If one don't love bad news, a fool no problem. I'm just the bearer of bad news. So when you're shooting, shoot after the news, not the messenger.
On YouTube and TikTok. The bad mind us. The bad mind the Jamaica Labour Party for its performance. The bad mind the Jamaica Labour Party for our achievements. And they are bad minding us for doing the things that you have always wanted a government to do. And when they have power for all this time, they never do it. And as soon as we start to do it, they try to turn the good into bad. They are a bad mind set of people. So we have been doing what the people want us to do. We have been fulfilling the social consciousness and social conscience of the people of Jamaica, who say everybody should have a good house to live in. Remember, you know, them did bad mind about my house. And when you give me the chance, they say, you know what, me have a make sure say every Jamaican have a good house to live in.
Exactly. Good house. Good house,
we have
government.
administered the affairs of the nation such that we can deliver that promise. And as I stand here today, I tell all of you who are gathered and everybody who is listening, put that on YouTube and TikTok, that under my administration, every Jamaican will have decent shelter to live in.
Decent house.
That is not a promise. That is a commitment. Some of you even here will say, here goes the politician. Oh, that's going up. Hear what I tell you. It is not impossible for every Jamaican household to have decent shelter. It is not impossible for every road in Jamaica to have decent driving surface. It's not impossible for every home in Jamaica that is within a certain distance from established water sources to have.
You mean the shitty water, sir? You mean the water where uno and cow shit in her? I know I tell you, say, don't boil it because you know poor people. Poor people to normally chunk and go to whole heap. And have to go through all of the rickety-tickety of life for not to much chunk. That level of shit, said the government. For no tumok. Remember no junk ha chang tumok, you know. Remember said, you know, poor people and jankro have chang tumok. So that's why the Prime Minister is telling us that it's okay for us to drink the shitty water. Or it's okay to drink the poisonous water in the black tank. Because we don't know which other water you talk about in the Prime Minister. Because you remember Everard Warmington tell us they might go piss in our pipeline, Giwi. Everard Warmington tell us they might go piss in our pipeline, Giwi. We don't even know if the shit that's been found in it have any Everard Warmington piss in it, Prime Minister. So you carry on crime, but you carry up infestation, isn't it, Prime Minister? Isn't that a fair argument? That while murder is going down, infestation of our waterways is going up, Prime Minister. I wonder why you can't have two things going down at the same time. But yes, we believe you, say crime down, all right? You don't have to come back out again and remind me that you are doing a beautiful job on crime, Prime Minister. We hear, you know, we heard that it is down. whether we want to believe it or not that it is done, in order to caress your ego, Prime Minister. KD Knight has died? Hold on. Let me see. Has KD Knight passed, Ingrid? Our Dana Dixon, she said today or Wednesday. Ingrid said she just saw it. Hold on there. I'm scoring the main news is to see if any of the news source start putting out anything yet. Hold on. Just bear with me. I'm just scoring through the mainstream. 1 second. Bear with. Hold on. Bear with me, I'm just checking the news. Sorry. That's not what I want. That's not what. Bear with me, just let me put on a music while I check.
Oh, thy peace, God of my salvation. Because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is open. Rastafari. Come with I. Rastaman throw one stone, and it break a bad feeling to all wicked men. Not a people there. Make a man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Only when man like Marcus Garvey speak.
Okay, Ingrid is saying somebody under the post say it's a lie. It's probably some of the things that these vloggers do on social media. They will put out an RIP for their opponent. It's quite something that is regularly done in the vlogging world when you claim to want to take down or pull down one, you would put out such a pronouncement on them. Now, let's continue with the program. As I was saying, Prime Minister, we believe you. All right? We know say down and we accept. So you beat us in submission to accept say the crime rate down. But the reason, Prime Minister, you and I know that why you have battered us into submission in believing that your crime rate is down, and you have done remarkably well on your promises. It's to secure, Prime Minister, your third term. We have believed you, so you can call the general election now. We believe that you have delivered. We believe that you have come through. We believe that you have taken crime down. We believe that you have taken murder down, Prime Minister, to an all-time 2 decades low, Prime Minister. Call the election. You have it in the bag. We are behind you. Oh, no. Me have to tell him the lie, people. Because him get up and tell it to himself and to we every day. It's only what he understand. So me have to talk to him in the language what the Prime Minister understand. We believe you, Prime Minister. You have done remarkably well. Crime has never been this low in this country. We've never had Prime Minister such a caring government in our country. We believe you. Call the election. I was listening to Partner Jaw this evening, and Miranda, which is the MP going up against Floyd Green for the People's National Party, were saying some things. What I can verify what Miranda was saying is that the economy of Southwest St. Elizabeth is shattered. The backbone of our economy was fishing and farming, whether legal or illegal farming, because ganja was a top tier in our farming in Southwest St. Elizabeth. Hope a big house, hope a people got high school and university out of ganja money. Ask Southwest St. Elizabeth about how ganja can lift people out of poverty. Similarly, our fishing and our agricultural industry, we were a very, very independent parish in Jamaica. We could do all sort of little small businesses because we have the farming community, we have the fishing community, and there were so many different businesses we can do as a chip off from those. All of them something there, mash up. Do I blame this administration purely for it all? No. It has been treated badly under successive administration. When did we start see a massive dip, though? Was under Chris Tufton and Bruce Golden. Was under Chris Tufton and Bruce Golden. And our industry, the fishing industry, has never recovered. I'm finding carry the rainforest galang in Sinting where I sell the Opa frozen fish. Listen, that what she said this evening is true. The bread basket of St. Elizabeth, not just in agriculture, but in fisheries, because St. Elizabeth dominates the Pedro Keys, which was one of Jamaica's major fish source. All of them something they destroy. It's the big corporate and multi-conglomerate people them where sell to the rainforest friend them, but Stewart extramarital son, or what you call it, illegitimate son or whatever, and them lot. So we believe your Prime Minister. Just call the election. We wish July was tomorrow, Prime Minister. We are honestly wishing July was tomorrow. Can St. Elizabeth, as the rest of Jamaica, revived? Certainly. All it takes is good leadership. The state of our country has an awful lot to do with leadership. Leadership is our biggest problem. And when you have bad leadership, anybody at all you make a deal with, whether it be the Chinese or the Americans, the Indian or anybody else, you're always going to be holding the shitty end of the stick. If your leader is not making the deal break within your interests, if your leader is making a deal in the interest of their pocket, it's always going to be adverse for you, the people. Our problem has always been, is, and will be a leadership issue. This one, though, the worst we've seen in our independent Jamaica. Thank you very much for being here tonight on the Global Television Group. Lovely to have your support as always. If you're new to the program, please give us a subscription and a follow from whichever platform you are watching. Make sure you register your attendance by hitting the like button. Power tap the screen. Power tap, power tap, power tap. And of course, let us go out with the Lipstick Queens.
Oh, thy peace, God of my salvation. Because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is so dead. Rastafari. Come with I.
Oh, Dr. Chang, before me go, I have to ask you again. Can you give us the number of illegal guns that came into the container at Helsha, Doctor, or any drugs for that matter, or any stacks of cash, Doctor? Because all I know silence, you know. And we are not going to be sidestepped by our silence. We want to know, Dr. Chang, how much guns was it that came in the container at Helsha, Doctor? We know that the Minister of National Security regularly import illegal weapons into the country. And given that a mysterious container, Doctor, has made its way to our shore, were there any illegal firearm, drugs, or cash, Dr. Chang, in the container?
Oh, thy peace, God of my salvation. Because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is so dead. Rastafari. Come with I. Rastaman throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Not a people there. Make a man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Only when man like Marcus Garvey speak, wicked men would I hear. Hear now hear. Instead of that, they only sit aside and rob and cheat, and not first and foremost, make God what I seen him. Make a man throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a plan. Make a man throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. My favorite part, if Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the day them can sell out Rasta and sell it out. I sell out Babylon. Big man throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Big man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. If Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the dead can sell out Rasta and sell out. I sell out Babylon. Yes, stop on the Friday. You must throw a stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a plan. You must throw a stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all from them and say, President Mandela was in prison for 20 odd years. And he leave from the prison and take the seat of the president. Stone one, big him and Joe one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black, big him and Joe one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Rastaman Joe one stone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for an evening well spent. Join us right back here tomorrow morning for your Ataglas program. Thank you and goodbye from Global TV.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.